lengthy post from a man known as Matt Van Swole on twitter.com, also known as the X app now because Elon Musk is just the best at naming things. Former nuclear scientist for U.S. Department of Energy and ex-photographer for Apple, United, and Hyatt. He's got quite a few interesting posts if you're just glancing. Okay, so he's posting about the baggage time, the time for baggage claim, which, you know, that's Donald Trump's doing, so, you know, I'm just pointing that out, Matt. Yeah, he likes to post about, like, black people hitting each other, you know, all that good stuff. Probably should stop that in case it gets too violent. I think what we saw, though, was fine. Also should stop this. But yeah, I've just seen a lot of conservative posts from him. And so this is not going to be a video. It is going to be like I said, a lengthy text post. By the way, this post proves to me that, like, introducing longer posts to Twitter was a mistake. I am so tired. Like, really, if you want to make a post this long, I think you should be forced to make a thread. Making a thread is more tedious. It forces you to at least condense things down to digestible chunks. And if you don't, people won't really like reading your thread. You know, like, I just don't like this format for Twitter. That being said, I read a little bit of this. I was interested, and I just wanted to go over it and just see how disturbing this gender transition story is. A South Carolina mother, breaking, by the way, South Carolina mother just shared one of the most disturbing school gender transition stories I've read in a long time. Her 14-year-old attended middle school, and I'm going to read it verbatim, but I am 100% certain this is actually this person's daughter, and also doxed, so very good on that, Matt Van Swole. That's pretty cool. For over a year, he was changing into girls' clothing at school and changing back before his mom picked him up. It was apparently a daily operation, coordinating with another student to bring the clothes, multiple bathroom trips, and deliberate concealment from his parents every single day. Multiple staff members at school had to have seen this, which, by the way, as long as you're dressed appropriately, which you are if you're in the same thing that other people are wearing, if you're dressed appropriately, I don't give a f what you're wearing at school, okay? Like, why do the parents, like, oh, by the way, your son put on a hoodie that he wasn't wearing when he first got here. What? Like, the standard is different for trans kids for some reason. Why? Parents don't need to know that. It's just not relevant. Like, it's not information that they need to know. And especially, like, if this child is sneaking an outfit into school in order to, you know, circumvent that child's parents, all the more reason to be suspicious that these parents are in some way abusing this child, even if we as a society don't consider it abuse to force trans kids into the closet. But make no mistake, it is. You don't pull off daily clothing changes in a middle school without teachers noticing, but nobody called home to tell his parents. Nobody except one teacher. One teacher the previous year did her job, she noticed. She called the mom, and she followed South Carolina law H.4624, which explicitly requires school staff to notify parents when a student expresses gender identity confusion. I'm sorry, like, I just don't agree. Like, why the f would we do that? Why would we do that? So that they can take them to conversion therapy if they want to? That's the only reason that I can see that you would do that. Please, by all means, give me another reason. That call out is the only reason the family found out at all. Wow, good job, that teacher. That sounds like it sucks for that child. They got their son into gender-related counseling over the summer of 2025. They were engaged, they were involved, they were actively trying to help their kid navigate something difficult. By the way, this isn't that harrowing to me yet. This is literally like a child who happened to be born with male genitalia, dressing in a way that you don't want them to dress. What I'm getting from this is that the mom is an asshat. I am also getting similar vibes. So the parents were dickheads and got mad that girl clothes are cute. Well, what it really comes down to, in my opinion, is the fact that, like, these parents know deep down why their child would hide that from them, and they don't want to confront it. They know. Like, and the response that they have proves it, okay? These parents know exactly why their child did not come to them with their, if you want to call it gender confusion, which it's not. Okay, trans people know their gender better than anybody because they've had it challenged so much all the time. If anybody's confused, it's the cis people, like the sissies. I'm just saying. You know, most men have never actually tried to present as feminine. I have, for the record, and I don't really like it. So I consider myself more man than most men. Just saying. The school went silent again. This is after the conversion camp, by the way. This is conversion therapy. They subjected their child to torture, as you can see, and then the school went silent again. Love the shirt, thank you. Pastel Bunny loves the shirt. I can't imagine why. Not the trans thing, just the pastel colors. It seems to me they pick one unlike their parents. Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. There's literally, like, I've read people who, this is anecdotal, but like I've read about people who are like, yeah, my mom told me once, boy, we all wish we could be men, sweetie, but we have to be women because that's just our lot in life. And it's like, wow, that is the most egg thing that I have ever heard. So yeah, they tortured their child, then the school went silent. The pattern continued into the school, into the next school year, and nobody said a word. Fast forward to February 2026. Doo-doo. The mom gets her son's haircut. He cries in class. His teacher sits with him for 10 minutes while he tells her, why the fuck are you cutting this child's hair? Why? Like, I'm just saying, boys also sometimes have long hair. Like, even if these parents want to be transphobic pieces of shit that torture their child, you know, like to conform or whatever, you can conform to gender norms and still have long hair. He wants long hair like a girl that his parents won't affirm his gender identity. All of it. Again, South Carolina law, H.4624, I'm going to appeal to legality, just like they did in the slave days, by the way, exists for exactly this moment. When a student expresses gender identity distress to a school employee, the law says the school shall notify the parents. By the way, I don't care. Like, if I ever end up in a position where I'm able to prescribe care for trans people, I am going to continue prescribing it, whether or not the law says it's allowed. Because, you know, it's not a matter of legality, okay? It's a matter of best practices. I wish that all doctors would do the same. I understand why they don't, and I don't blame them. But I personally will still, I will defy the law, sure. I'm comfortable saying that. I don't care. It's about best outcomes. You know, if the society you live in, that's part of the struggle, right? As a medical professional, you have to struggle against the society you live in sometimes. It's just part of our job, unfortunately. Yeah, the law's in direct conflict with duty of care. But the teacher didn't call the mom. She called DSS. That same day, February 13th, 2026, she filed a Child Protective Services report against this family for medical neglect. Medical neglect because A, the boy allegedly coughed up blood and wasn't receiving care. B, coughing up blood and wasn't receiving care. So wait, they just weren't, that's really bad. Why the fuck is this child coughing up blood? I would also be calling in for medical neglect. B, mental injury because the parents won't affirm a gender transition. I like how this person put this one first, right? And then like put the weakest one last. This is just part of the torture. This is part of the torture. Oh, you're going to do the dishes because that's what men do. You're going to take out the trash because that's what men do. Trans people in the audience, tell me how that would make you feel if your parents did that to you and if you're a trans femme, or let's say that you're trans mask. Trans mask people in the audience, tell me how I would, leave a comment. This is the, the famous call to action. Tell me in the comments how you would feel if you're a trans and your parents know, like you got outed to your parents by your teacher and they start forcing you to do the chores of the opposite gender and explicitly saying that that is why you are doing those chores. That's called torture. You are psychologically torturing that child. The mom asked her son what that meant. He said cutting the grass. DSS showed up at their home on Valentine's Day weekend. 2 days later, the family took their son and got a chest x-ray. His lungs were completely clear. He never coughed up blood. The allegation was fabricated. I don't know if I believe him. I would like to see the full story on it. Notice how there's no source here, by the way. On February 19th, 5 days after the report was filed, DSS closed the case. Unfounded, no evidence of medical neglect, no evidence of mental injury. Nothing. So just to recap, a teacher had a 10-minute conversation with a 14-year-old, decided his parents' refusal to affirm a gender transition constituted child abuse, while also coughing up blood. I mean, if that is what the teacher was saying was happening, you know... Like, if the teacher was lying, then sure, but, like, we can't just say that she was lying about the blood thing. There could have very possibly been blood that this child was coughing up. We don't know. Just because the doctors didn't see any evidence of lung trauma doesn't mean that they weren't, in fact, coughing up blood in that instance. You know, they could have been just a nosebleed. Blood got drained back into the trachea, and then they start coughing up blood. Like, there's all kinds of things that can happen. Yeah, exactly, Planet Dixon. Doesn't have to come for your lungs. Decided his parents' refusal to affirm a gender transition constituted child abuse, invented or wildly exaggerated a medical claim to make the report actionable, violated state law by never calling the parents, and weaponized DSS on a family over Valentine's Day weekend. Over Valentine's Day weekend? No! How dare they? And the school's response? The principal wrote back defending the teacher, called the DSS report appropriate based on medical neglect suspicion. Yes, you want your teachers to be able to do that without getting in trouble. Do you, okay, think about this for like 2 seconds, right? If there were a pattern of this teacher making a medical neglect abuse case against the same family over and over, and then it comes up negative every time, then you have a case. But this was one time. How are you going to punish this teacher who is a mandated reporter of that kind of stuff for reporting that kind of stuff once? That's insane. The report that was closed completely unfounded in 5 days. The report, I want to finish this up. I'm getting bored. The report based on a medical claim that was disproven with a chest x-ray. That doesn't disprove that this child was coughing up blood. That's not how that works. Wait, what was this person? A nuclear scientist. Okay, well, I'm a medical scientist. So I will tell you for a fact that you can cough up blood and not have any symptoms in your lungs. That's not how coughing up blood works. It can come from all kinds of places. Usually up here, but I'm sure things have happened elsewhere. That's insane. The principal also mentioned that the staff had received gender identity training and that the school followed up applicable South Carolina statutes, but the H.4624 violation, the actual law that was actually broken, was never addressed, not once. The superintendent promised a full investigation by a chief administrative officer. Instead, the principal, the direct supervisor of the teacher in question, provided the only written response and used it to defend her own employee. They did an investigation. They looked into it, and then they discovered, like, okay, this seemed like a legitimate concern that this teacher was raising, which I would have raised as well. If I saw this child cough up blood, know that their parents are transphobic pieces of shit and that they've been outed to their parents, I too would call CPS. You know why? Because that's the most likely type of parent to abuse their child, okay? I'm just saying. The school watched a student secretly change genders during the school day for over a year and chose not to tell his mother. That's not an act. Shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care. Don't tell the parents. Don't tell the parents. They clearly, they tortured their child, so clearly that was a bad idea. The teacher who did tell the parents, you don't miss daily clothing changes in a middle school. They saw it. They allowed it. Good. They made a decision collectively and repeatedly that the parents didn't need to know. Good. Then when that same family's values came up in their values like torturing their child, the response wasn't to pick up the phone and call mom like the law requires. The response was to report them for child abuse. The good. I'm glad. The silence for a year and the DSS report aren't two separate. Okay, so there is a source here. Okay, well, that has a dead name in it, so I'm not going to read it. Yeah, good job doxing this family, by the way. That's pretty cool. This family did everything right. They got their son counseling, aka conversion therapy, aka torture. They stayed engaged, aka tortured their child. They were present. They got a chest x-ray to disprove a fabricated allegation. The blood could have come. Okay. DSS came into their home, looked at how they parent, and walked out 5 days later with literally nothing, but the school is still calling it appropriate. The mom has filed complaints with both the school and the South Carolina Department of Education. You got Child Protective Services called on you, okay, by a concerned teacher. I would go talk to that teacher and say, what was your concern, ma'am or sir? Like, or other? What was your concern? Not that they would say other, but, you know, what was your concern? Like, why did you do that? Because if a teacher tried to call CPS on me for my child, which I don't have yet, despite the dad hat, but if that were to happen to me, I would simply just, like, if I had nothing to hide, first of all, but second of all, like, an investigation, if they felt it was warranted, I would want to know why. I'd be like, okay, oh, there's bruises all over my child. Okay, well, I understand why you would want to do a CPS call. Turns out my child is just, you know, in football or something. Like, sure, like, just work it out, you know, and it's a hassle, it's a headache, but at least you have teachers who are, like, willing to, like, teachers' jobs are hard enough. You really got to make it harder. At least she was willing to call CPS in the first place, gave a damn about this child that her parents are torturing. Son is homeschooled now. Oh, cool. They can torture her in private now. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that Matt Van Swole on the X app felt the need to dox this trans child, and sure that, you know, just really lay it on thick how important it is to torture trans children into obedience, and if you don't, you know, we'll arrest people or something. Like, it's so gross, man. Hi, thanks so much for watching and making it to the end of the video. I just wanted to let you all know that I love and appreciate everybody in my community, whether you can support me financially or just by liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. It helps way more than you know. That being said, I do want to give a very special thanks to my tier 4 subs, which would be Space Timid and Hot Take Andy. And thanks so much to my monetary subscribers from any of the tiered subs, or anybody who gives me money in any form, including going to my Patreon shop, donating money to me directly. It all helps way more than you know. If you do decide to help me financially, you can get some really cool perks like early access to content, exclusive access to censored videos, also some really cool badges next to your name. Even if you can't afford a monetary subscription, just watching, sharing, and commenting on my content helps way more than you know. Thanks again, and I will see you all in the next video.